Welcome in, everyone. Let's give everybody a chance to come in. Appreciate you joining us here. This week in Missouri Politics Midweek Update. We're coming to you from your state capital. Going to be a lot of fun. It takes a second to get everybody up and get everybody on for the stream. Give everybody a second. Actually, it's like a Missouri Times rarity that we're starting kind of on time. That's not our MO. Actually, that's not how we normally accomplish things. But let's just dive right in. Presidential primary. Biden just destroyed Sanders here. I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. um, I mean, you have to hand it to people. Oh, first, Kyle Warrensburg, thank you. St. Patrick's Day Stein, get the Clydesdales there, kind of coming along. Got the Shamrocks, like it, I dig it. I thank you very much for the Stein. It will be enjoyed. A little Stein of knowledge sip to get us started. That's what I needed. Biden destroys them. I have to tell you. I mean, look at the Democrats. Just when you think they're kind of incompetent and can't get. I mean, I haven't seen a pack of socialists taken down faster than the Sanders people since at least the Cold War. I mean, they just demolish those folks. I don't know if that means they don't. They probably hate Trump so much they turn out, but it just goes to show you. You have to remember this, and this is the most ironic thing in the world. Saying this on the internet. The internet is a very so. If you have an uncle, right? And then you have two uncles, and you're at Thanksgiving or Christmas or wherever your family gets together, or the barbecue at Labor Day. And one uncle is the guy that works for the government and maybe doesn't drive the nicest car and is kind of angry a lot. And the other uncle's like a CPA and he lives in the suburbs and he's successful and he's like, the two of them approach. One of them pretty angry. One of them's usually pretty content. One of them talks all the damn time about everything controversial. One of them you can't pull an opinion out of hardly. And the internet is the uncle that is the angry one. The real life is usually more closer to your other uncle that just kind of is cool and everything's good in life and he's happy and that side of stuff. So the internet is, if you look at the internet, yes. If you looked at the internet, you would believe that a $200,000 fine totally exonerates you. If you look at the internet, you would believe that Bernie Sanders is popular. And he is popular, very popular. For a socialist, he's wildly popular. Maybe he's the future of the Democrat Party, I don't know. But today's Democrat Party was Joe Biden rolling out and they all came out. The Kelly Group, I know, was heavily involved. They came out and just thunderstruck Sanders. And it just, wow. So in Missouri, it was 60-35, but you would expect that. Everywhere else in the country, Biden rolls. If Sanders wants to stay in, I think his people will give him money to stay in, and good for him. I think this could be the one instance where the longer the primary season goes on, it's going to help Biden, because to the middle of people he needs to get that will be making their minds up. I believe that Biden is sitting there, and every time he's contrasted with Sanders, it makes him look more moderate. Jerry Brown did this for Bill Clinton back in the day. He stayed in to the end, and it made Clinton look more moderate, more acceptable to those voters you're going to have to win. Voters in the SD 15. And you hope you can, if you're Biden, you can come out and get the Sanders people excited on the back end, right? They'll come back with something that they'll hate Trump enough or whatever it is. They'll be stoked to come back in and vote in the fall. But I will tell you, I've said this from the beginning. I thought Donald Trump would defeat Warren and Sanders, and Buttigieg is so new you don't know. Wiley Price, very good point. For those of you that can't see this, Bernie is more popular online than he is in real life, but that's because his prime demographic's 18 to 36, and that's who's going to be the most active online. That's a great point. I never thought of that. Wiley's totally right about that. That is true. That is very true. But I would also say that the demographic in that 18 to 36 that is the loudest is the angry ones, and then that's going to be your more radical thinkers. And frankly, Sanders, maybe it's a double demographic hit, but that's your point is probably better than mine actually on why the online stuff doesn't really compute to real life. But going forward, Biden's the favorite to win. To me, as long as he doesn't try to out Trump, as long as he doesn't try to go down and fight with Trump, if he just acts like he's the president, I've said this a couple times. If Joe Biden on the debate says, because the debate people are going to be just dying to just go, they're going to be your liberal urban media people out to get Trump. If Biden, when they ask some jerk question, Trump will say, hold on. Donald Trump's a good guy doing his best. His supporters are good people. They want the best for the country. I just think I can do a little better and would like your vote. If he says that, while it's not sexy and doesn't get a bunch of retweets, I think that would be huge. If you take a Trump voter and you convince them that you don't look down on them, then you have a chance to communicate to them. I think maybe when you see the stock market having the problems it has, you see a coronavirus that's clearly a major concern. The president's tweeting. The president's tweeting, I think, looks a lot better when the stock market's good and there's no foreign policy issue. That stuff doesn't look as good when you're watching on television people wearing surgical masks. You want maybe a guy in the room a little more that's not doing some of that stuff. And so I do think Trump's got to show a different side of himself, or Biden is a clear favorite to defeat him. And again, Democrats, wow, look at you guys, just come in and just took that socialist down. I mean, gee, like the Bay of Pigs in reverse. Holy cow. Let's talk about, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, 7 days, the big dog town. I got to hear Alan Taubman from Patty Malone's last night saying not one, but two Irish songs. You know it's St. Patrick's Day season when Alan becomes inspired to sing that outstanding stuff. Yeah, buy St. Patrick's Day mask. If you are in Jefferson City, they have a big walk. Patty Malone's by the aptly named for this month, Kirkpatrick, Secretary of State office. They'll walk down. There's a walking parade. It's a fun time. If you're around the Capitol, be sure to touch that. Obviously, you have the parades in St. Louis. I think Kansas City has one. I know they have at least one. But Rolla, I'm going to tell you, hidden gem here. Hidden gem. This is your old hillbilly pal. Been to more counties than anybody else in the Missouri media. Probably, maybe all of them put together. But I would tell you, the best hidden gem. This is a hidden gem for St. Patrick's Day. Rolla, Missouri. Outstanding St. Patrick's Day. You're thinking I don't know. Go Google it. I'm sure there's pictures. But if you're anywhere near Rolla, that's where you want to be on St. Patrick's Day. It's the time of year everybody has their kind of, like Laura Ingalls Wild down in Wright County. The festival's great, but I'm telling you, I'm serious. Don't sleep on your hillbilly buddy. As advice here, I know Missouri. Give me every other person in the urban media. I've been to more counties in this state than all of them put together. Rolla is your St. Patty's Day move. PDMP, the government will now have a database. Look, I'll give you my own Stein knowledge, white trash instinct on this. There was a time when the PDMP really could change some dynamics. Data is so prevalent. So much data is out there, managed in so many different ways. It's my view that PDMP is not the game changer it might have been before, that this data is so readily available. So many other counties have done it on their own. St. Louis County has done their own kind of database that people sign into. I don't know that this really changes much, but I do think that I think Senator Luetkemeyer was probably he had a good year last year. This was the most senatorial night for Senator Luetkemeyer. He took the floor. He praised Eric Burleson, gave him great plaudits. Senator Burleson really did take this issue on and work on it. But at the end of the day, I think there was 31 senators showed up at the Capitol yesterday, or just 2 days ago, just dying and loving not ever talking about this issue again. And I think they were thrilled not to talk about it, and they just wanted it over with. And I think they got it over with. And I think they did it in a way that, I mean, there's a lot of restrictions on it. There's people that will say this isn't a very, strong enough. But I mean, trust me, this is the best you're going to get. This was good work by the Senate. It's over. And I will tell you, I believe that a lot of the reason this is done goes to Holly Rader and goes to the respect she has. I think that there's people that respected her enough that they normally would have just continued to kill this, but out of respect to her in her last session, it was respect for her that was the last little push that got that done. I really don't think you have a ton to fear from this. And now I am not an expert. I'm open to being wrong, but I actually do believe that you could, I don't think you've got some of the doomsday worries I don't think are probably likely. I did get to visit yesterday with one of my favorite Jeff City folks, Senator Rob Schaaf. Senator Schaaf basically told me we're all going to die from coronavirus. if we don't, make some serious preparations. I have no idea if he's right. He knows more about the stuff than I do, but he's great. He's a true Missouri character. I have his book. Hold on. Let me see where I got it here. Oh, damn it. 1 second. I'll be right there. Well, damn. The book Influence. Oh, it's in that pile over there. Dadgummit. The book Shop used to quote all the time on ethics when he would talk about how influence and how you are. Shop's great. He's a doctor. He came and testified. And basically, you're all going to die. I said, well, what if you keep a high blood alcohol content and you don't drink Corona beer? He said, you're going to die. What if you go back to Butler County and don't talk to anybody that's ever been to China? You're going to die. So I love him. He's the best. He seriously did give some ideas on how to stem it. He's got Dr. Shop is really analytical. He talks about how if you could just stem the curve, you could treat people. He has a plan. I don't know that they'll do it, but he has a plan. He thinks this is extremely serious. Like, I was joking, but in all honesty, he thinks this is a very, very serious thing, and people in Missouri are not taking it as seriously as they should. I don't know. I'll yield to his thoughts. Senate tip sheet's coming out. Should be coming out later today. Let me give you the rundown here. Denny Hoskins, the most boring Senate race in the whole state. No one's going to run against Denny Hoskins. That's now Warrensburg's seat. It'll be up to Nicole Galloway, it looks like, if it stays that way. But I'm going to tell you, Nicole Galloway would be very wise when she draws these Senate districts to keep a Johnson County seat separate from a Cass County seat. Johnson County will not be happy if that's not how that happens. Greg Razor in Holzman's seat, I know he has an opponent, but the opponent hasn't raised any money yet. Razor is on board for a boring race. Lauren Arthur at 15. There's 34 senators for you that don't always watch. Half of them are up. Lauren Arthur's seat, with Biden winning, she's going to be fine. With Sanders, I think she would have lost. I should have been the underdog. People value work. And if you listen to Governor Nixon on the show last week, you say what you will about Governor Nixon. The dude knows how to win votes. And work is key. Lauren Arthur was in a district that's Claycomo. Work matters. It's a swing district. It's maybe marginally Republican, but not really either one. Definitely a swing district. With Biden on the top of the ticket, Joe Biden could come to Liberty, Missouri, and she could show up to him, and it wouldn't hurt her. If Bernie Sanders come to Liberty, Missouri, she would have to run. She would have to have an emergency vacation or have a key meeting, and she couldn't be there. It would be bad. Bill Eigel in 14, and then St. Joseph. I know people are talking about a primary for him, but I'll believe it when the guy comes to the Kirkpatrick building. Incumbent senators don't lose. I just don't believe they'll lose. Senator Rizzo in 11, another one, in Senate District 11 and 13. Yeah, now he's fine, and the state's better off with him where he's at. But I'm telling you, that district could have went sideways on him if it was Sanders. Senator Curl's seat, Barbara Washington's in, Ryan Myers is in. It will be interesting. I think right now it's in at 12. The primary is the race. It's kind of the northwest part of the Jackson County in Kansas City. If there's no other African American that files, I think Barbara Washington's going to be a senator. If another African American or two candidates file, then Ryan Myers is somebody who you don't know today, but you're going to know a lot of because they'll have a chance to win. In at 11, Senator Rowden in Boone County. Look, this will go up, but for now, there's so many primaries. Judy Baker. There are some folks that think because she's ran a few times and lost that she's not a good candidate. Locally, she's a good candidate. No, she almost won a congressional race, did better than probably she should have done. And then she ran in a couple statewide that just weren't possible. No one could have won them. Judy Baker's a good candidate, and Caleb Rowden will have to pay attention to that. This is an interesting race. In Boone County, Biden isn't as valuable. Sanders is the one place he would have helped Democrats is in Boone County. Because like Wiley said, you fire up those 18 and 36 college folks. The professors would like the theoretical socialism stuff. Sanders would have played better in Boone County as far as enthusiasm than maybe Biden. But that's an interesting. I mean that we'll be talking about that a lot. But for now, Caleb's the favorite. Senator Walsh, Tommy Pearson Jr. You got Alan Green, the Walton family. That dynasty has someone that's running. These districts are tough to predict. Right now, Tommy Pearson Jr. is taking the backing and doing well with it and winning. Down at number 9, Senator Sifton's seat. I will say again, we'll miss Sifton more than anybody else, even the Republicans. David Linehan hadn't filed yet, I don't think, but He's going to self-fund, I guess. That's a seat that if Sanders was there, Doug Beck would have lost, I think. Now Doug Beck's the marginal favorite with Sanders. Joe Biden could go to Afton, and they'd love him. It wouldn't just be an appearance you'd have to suffer through. If Joe Biden could walk down Telegraph Road in Oakville, and they love the guy. He is a nice guy. So I would say Doug Beck's the marginal favorite starting off the race. Got to see more of Linehan. See, some guys come in and they're Mike Kehoe, right? They're terrific politicians naturally. Some guys come in and not so much. So we'll see what happens. But that's a race we'll talk about more as the fall. Number 8, Senator Romine's seat. So far, look, if Elaine Gannon files, this will move up our list and be a big deal. She hasn't thus far. I would say probably we're getting to the point where it's more likely she doesn't file than she files. Elaine Gannon is very respected. Her husband's a county executive in Jefferson County. But Ken Sism's the favorite, even if she does. But Ken Sism's the very large favorite. There's a nice, hard-charging veteran that's running against Sism. But, I mean, you Sinclair, name me Pundman, name me the car dealers. I can go Baldwin, Blackwell, Hillis, where I'm from. You know them. It's very hard to beat. Number 7, Senator Sheeds. This is going to be the fun one. The 5th was fun 8 years ago. It's fun now. Stephen Roberts is your guy that's, hard-charging up-and-comer. A lot of support. Works his tail off. Financial support. Then you have Michelle Sherrod, who was formerly worked for Senator McCaskill, supported by Senator Nasheed. She'll have some activist support. Then Megan Green. Megan Green will be underestimated. She always has been, and she will. I asked her about her. PAC, and she's, I don't have a PAC. She's got it all down. Megan Green knows what she's doing. People will be freaked out if she's a state senator, but they shouldn't be. She'll advocate a very liberal cause and do it well. And I keep an eye on Megan Green. Megan Green is. I could see the type. Folks thought Koenig would lose the stream, right? And there's a couple groups that saw the potential there at the very end of the primary, came in heavy for Koenig and helped him win what he was probably going to win anyway. But they saw that drift. Watch for a couple groups come in for Megan Green closer to the end when they see she's got a real chance. Number 6, Doug Lively's seat. The boot heel. Whoever's lucky enough gets to represent Western Butler County. Got some numbers for you on that. That district is a hill district for Republicans. Trump has made all these courthouses. Used to wonder and look at that seat and say, well, the population's in the Boot Hill, Stoddard County, and Southeast, but the senator's always from the hills in Butler County. Well, the Hill folks always vote in the primary on the Republican side, sheriff, commissioner, what have you. So you go, morning, Mr. Holt. So you go and if you take a look at it, we would put up the guy that would win the primary because we voted for the commissioners and sheriff in our primary in the courthouse. They would have the guy that didn't have any primary votes. And then the general, everybody voted Republican anyway, guns and abortion. Well, now Trump has come along, and all these courthouses are Republican now. So your sheriffs and your commissioners are all running Republican, so it drives up those turnouts. Jason Bean, here's the thing. I'll break it down here. So you have Eddie Justice, longtime Republican activist, a lot of support. He's been there for a lot of people, helping him, well thought of. Jeff Sean, who's been a tremendous legislator. I mean, Jeff Sean probably fits in the Senate better than anybody I've seen that's running for the House. He's really a senator that's in the House right now. He's just got that. He's got that judgment. He's slow to make a decision. There's a real senatorial feel to Representative Sean. So you would thought okay, these guys are going to duke it out. Steve Cookson's running. If Representative Cookson, former representative, can raise money, he'll be a factor. If he can't, there's rules of politics apply. But I thought that Representative Sean and Eddie Justice were going to run for the seat that Jeff Sean ultimately ran for. And it ended up being where Jeff Sean kind of won that fight, right? And Eddie didn't run. This time they're both running, and Jeff Sean has the money advantage. He probably can self-fund a lot of the campaign. I assume Eddie Justice is a successful insurance agent. If he, to the degree he wants to, he probably can. I don't know to the degree Jeff Sean can, but he can. Eddie Justice is a successful businessman in his own right. However, Jason Bean's there from the Boot Hill, related to Ott Bean and his dad, and highly, highly respected. And now they all vote in the Republican primary. The numbers are now with Jason Bean, and Jason Bean has some friends. Charlie Cruz being at your kickoff, that's legit. That's respect. You would think, okay, well, normally the way politics works is now Jeff and Eddie get in a room, but somebody from Butler County, and says, we want to keep the Senate seat. You both can't run. You're going to kill each other. And that one would run for the House seat. They both live in that House district. However, Daryl Atchison's running. Now, Daryl Atchison, pretty good, very, very strong candidate, will be a good House member. Would he back out in that case? I don't know the answer to that. So there's some complications there. I have to think that sometime in the next 3 weeks, next 20 days now, they're going to get in a room and talk, and one of them, two of them, they're at least going to have the conversation. Should we both be in this? The best thing for the Butler County side is for one of them. The best thing for whichever one of them is to get it. I've always said Eddie Justice, he was the treasurer of HRCC, would be a very good House member. He knows a lot of them. There's a deal there that sort of would make sense, right? But if I had to give you a side knowledge prediction, when you have the consultants involved and all the other people involved, it will not happen. Daryl Atchison there. There's the logic for a deal, but it's like Wayfair. There's the logic for a Wayfair deal. I don't know if there's the will there yet for a Wayfair deal in the Senate. I think there's the logic for a compromise, and then you'd have a hell of a primary, flats, hills, that St. Francis River would be the dividing line, and Katie bar the door. But as long as they're both in it, I think right now you look at Jason Bean has a very good chance to win. So going and Doug Libla being from Poplar Bluff, I don't know that Doug Libla sets him down in a room. I mean, if Doug Libla sets me down in a room, and he has before, I generally, hop too. But I don't know he'll do that. I don't know that it'll work. I think that maybe the logic for the deal won't work, and they'll end up running. It'll be a three-way race, and one of the two of them will have to cannibalize the other one to have a chance. Now, if Sean or Justice destroys the other one's vote and takes that, gets a huge chunk of that Butler County vote, then they have a chance to win. But you're going to have to see the two of them. It'll almost be two primaries. They'll have to there'll be a Butler County intramural match to destroy the other one. Then you run against Bean. And if that fight is fought decisively in that county, then yeah, they'll be the front runner. But if you fight it to a draw, then you're going to, as the old George Jones song says, the winner will lose on. David Sater, interesting. Here's the thing about Mike Moon. I've told you before, you go meet Mike Moon somewhere, and if you don't talk about politics, Mike Moon's the nicest guy you'll meet. Very, very much a gentleman. Very much a gentleman. Very, just a play. Now, some of his views, a lot there. David Cole is running a more traditional candidate. David Cole's a very nice guy too. David Cole's views are more what you maybe look for and expect. I think Moon's probably if the money is there that has been put there by the CL PAC, Cole has a fight on his hands. Probably neither one's the favorite yet, but the opportunities for Moon probably has more pathways if he has that large amount of money. It will be interesting to see if Cinder Shad and Cinder Rowden take this seriously, and because one side is picked, if they go pick Cole and really make sure it happens and view it as a big deal to see him win. Number 4, Koenig. I think that Biden. There's a lot of people in that Kirkwood area that I think fancy themselves as liberals and probably are, but now they're not socialists. They're rich. You can't afford Kirkwood taxes if you don't make some money. Sanders would have been very debilitating to that area. Deb Lavender needs a big Kirkwood, Glendale, Webster Groves. I think part of that's Webster Groves down, or at least that area to the west of Webster Groves to come in for her, because Fenton, Eureka, those places are going to be hard for Koenig, hardcore. The Sunset Hills area, that'll be good for Koenig. And then the fight will be Baldwin. It'll be that Trish Gumby seat. It'll be that area on Manchester Road south of there is where your real fight's going to be for who wins that seat. Very competitive. You won't outwork Deb Lavender, but you won't outwork Andrew Koenig. This is the two of all these 17 races, the two hardest working candidates. I would put my money right now will be Koenig and Lavender. They both work very hard, and he'll be on the show this week, by the way. Cinder Koenig. Number 3, Senator Cunningham. He's come in heavy. Carla Esslinger, former legislator Van Kelly, really nice guy. He's from Douglas County. Robert Ross is from Texas County. I did the numbers on this. This has come back from that 16 primary for the governor's race. It was, if you're going to vote, that had a lot of reasons to come out and vote. So I took the 16 one, and I'm just telling you, When I did the numbers, you've got Carla Esslinger starting at 22% of the district's Howell County. 11% is Douglas. However, Douglas is going to bleed over. The Kellys are going to get some of her Howell County vote. Wright County is at 13%. Hannah Kelly is a legislator there. She would be – nobody dislikes Hannah Kelly, so she's going to be – I would think that would help Van Kelly. Texas County is only at 13%. Then Webster County is at 20%. Senator Cunningham is very aggressively helping Representative Esslinger. My gut tells me that's where the money's going to have to be spent. Lyndall Fraker's family being from there. People forget Niangua, the hometown of Roy Blunt, where he's actually born, in Niangua in Webster County, where his father, I think, was a legislator himself, or maybe his grandfather. But the interesting thing, keep in mind, I call it pulling at Cunningham. Ripley County is cut off from this whole area. Oregon County's, what is Oregon? 5% of the, Ozarks 5%, Oregon has 8%, Ripley County 7%. So really, Oregon, nobody, if you're from Texas, Webster, Marshfield, West Plains, you don't go to Ripley County. There's no, the road is like this, 142. Senator Cunningham went over and stole Ripley County. His entire margin of victory came out of Ripley County. I call it pulling at Cunningham. And so now that everybody knows in this district, it's harder to pull at Cunningham if everybody knows you can pull at Cunningham. So Cunningham, smart dude, good politician. Swiped Ripley County, won it by a huge margin. His entire margin of victory was from there. So don't sleep on Donovan. Don't sleep on Naylor. Don't sleep on Thayer. Don't sleep on Lone Star, the school out there. This will be highly competitive. And Representative Ross, depending upon how good, not everybody's good at taking their support and transferring it. But if Cunningham is, that's a big deal. And that's in at number 3. Number 2, at Emory's seat, Jack Bondon, this is a name you'll want to know. He's got a big future if he wins this race. He's a guy who could run statewide even if he's successful running against Rick Bratton. Rick Bratton's going to run hard right. Bondon's going to run right, but different styles. We'll see what the primary vote is. If you look at that race, Cass County is 50% of the vote, right? So I thought initially Bondon would have the money to go to the other 50% of the place and just outspend him. That's usually when the guy goes really hard right, they don't have the resources. Now with the CL PAC and the Conservative Caucus, he has the finances now. Bondon does to stick in and or Bratton will, and to campaign himself there. So that raises a toss-up. This will come down again. Does Senator Schatz and Senator Rowden sit in a room and say, okay, this caucus has said we're going hard and we're going to run for leadership and things. So we're going to take Jack Bondon and we're going to make sure he wins. If they do, I would say Bondon's the marginal favorite. But if they don't, then I'd say Bratton is the marginal favorite. It's interesting. It's like there's a fight going on, but is both sides really in it? Then let's talk about the number 1 race, the most personal, biggest race, vitriol, got to have it all. Holly Rader, Kathy Swan, Cape County versus the rest, the field. It is big doings, personal hits, negative. Everything you want in a race is this. It comes down to this. Cape County is 46% of that district. Now, everybody talks about Ellen Brandon, Wayne Wallingford. Senator Wallingford didn't endorse Ellen Brandon for Senate. He was a rep, first term. Ellen Brandon was termed out. He had endorsed her. Come filing, he decides, well, she's not from Cape County. I can win. Wayne Wallingford files, runs, wins. A little more complicated than that, but not much. He comes in and wins it. Now, Holly Rader is a problem, and I like Representative Bondon was great, but to be honest with you, there's a good strain of logic. She's probably Holly Rader's a better politician than Ellen Brandon. Holly Rader's a top politician. If anybody can do this, she can. Can you go get Cape County people to vote for you? I don't know. The answer's generally been no. Can you go to the rest of the – Scott County's number was 18% in 16. It'll be bigger in 20. More local races again. People in rural Missouri pick a primary ballot because of local races. They drive turnout more than anything else. And so Scott County will be larger, but I don't know how much larger. It's good. That's part of the boot hill that will continue to trend more primary numbers in the Republican part. So she has a better chance. The numbers are marginally better, but it's going to come down to, I'd say what would change that race if the last day of filing a city council member or a school board member from Cape files, that would give people from Cape a chance to vote for a Cape County person that would divide that. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be an interesting day. There'll be a lot of people watching that Kirkpatrick building, more than normal on the 31st. So that's the top Senate race. You'll see all of our breakdowns. It'll be on the website later today. with the tip sheet, Democrats took the cap, taking out the socialist, modern day Reagans, and it was done just so ruthlessly and just so overtly that we're gonna annihilate you. Who would have thought? Didn't know they had it in them. Let's take up a questions here. Tim from St. Louis. Two St. Louis's on here. LGBT bills. What's up with that? There's some transgender. It's House stuff. I mean, the House does this kind of stuff. I would be willing to bet you that nobody does anything with these in the Senate. These are not bills that are probably going to see a lot of time in the Senate, if I had to guess. I thought with SGR 39, the business community came down and told the Republicans to knock it off. That they're no longer willing to sit silently to get tax cuts and tort reform for you, making it harder for them to hire people. And so I thought this stuff was open. Transgender is a different thing than some people view transgender as a different issue subset than LGBT rights. I guess the T there, it's some people view it differently. And so these bills won't pass. But here's the thing. The Post and the Star, if they can do something that makes Republicans look bizarre and bad, they will every time. Write it down. And that's what this is. Tim, I don't believe these bills pass or even come close to passing. They've been sent to some committees, and there's some people that wonder, well, why is the chairman hearing them? Well, Dean Plog's running for leadership, and there's a lot of House caucus that thinks these are good things and wants to push them. So, I guess the move is if you don't like these things, elect different people, because this is I go back to, again, if you don't like how LGBT the community is treated, well, let me help you out here. Elect different people. These people run on these issues, and when they get elected, it's like the media in the urban liberal media, that people run pro-life, pro-gun proudly, put it on their signs everywhere, and then they get to the legislature and they're pro-life, pro-gun. They're like, well, what are these crazies? Well, they're doing exactly what they said they would do. So there's a little bit of truth to that on the LGBT bills too. You got to win races. If you win races, Democrats, if they win races, these things stop happening because it'll be more competitive. Maybe not the answer you're looking for, but it's my honest opinion. I'm not a fan of this type of stuff any more than most people, but I understand why it happens. And it comes back to people that win the races make the decisions. Adam from St. Louis, why did the conservative caucus let PDMP go through? They needed to let something go through. They needed to show they could compromise on a bill and move something. And it was very, very great day for them. They're in the rotunda, the best they've been reviewed since they started. That was good work. They turned it over to Eric Burleson. Last week it was like, well, why does 6 Republican senators filibuster not kill it? Because they're one caucus. If you got that, you're not viewed as 6, you're viewed as 1 then. And then you need to turn it over and get a couple others with your 6, and you would have killed whatever you wanted to. But in my view, they dropped PDMP because, one, they want Holly Rader to join their caucus. It would be very hard, in my estimation, for Holly Rader to come and join a caucus who one of their top priorities is killing her top priority. That's not why you're in a caucus, right? 2, they respect Holly Rader legitimately, not just for political purposes. They really do respect her. 3, everybody wants this over. 4, I think they were able to get concessions to get it done that they feel like are not maybe good. They'll vote against it. It won't just be the conservative caucus Thursday when they third read this bill that votes against it. It will be other Republicans that vote against this too. But it was the overwhelming desire of that chamber to get this issue over. And I believe the House, I'm going to tell you, right now, you had more Republicans than ever vote against it. In the House, PDMP will continue to see opposition. So if you don't pass it here pretty quick, you're not going to be able to pass it to the House. And also, I watched this. Here would be the way PDMP doesn't happen. I watched this on medical marijuana once. The House Democrats realized the Republicans had to have their votes to pass it, and they walked and made them, and it didn't move. It was good. Medical marijuana was going to pass the House. It was teed up, ready to go on the floor, and the last minute the House Democrats walked and didn't vote for it, and it died. And so you'll need Democrat votes to pass this when the House takes it up. And assuming they're there, it'll go. But if the House Democrats, there's not 82 Republicans I don't think, to pass this. It'll be that'll be an interesting whip count. Every year the number of Republicans that voted for this have gone down. It'll be if that doesn't happen, that's a shame because Holly Rader has pursued this. It's not in her political interest. It's something she actually believes. She has a personal reason to believe in it. There's no reason this helps her in any way except for she actually believes in the issue, and I admire people that take that track to things. So anyway, Senator Kane's on the show this week. Send us a DM. Drop me a text. My number's easy to get. DM me, and I'll give you my cell, and we'll talk about all these issues with Senator Canning in the what did we say? Is he in the fourth top Senate race in the state? That state Senate race will be number one the day after the primary. Appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you again to Kyle from Warrensburg for this wonderful St. Patrick's Day stein. I love it. See you next week, same time.